Thanks for joining us. I'm Paula Ebben with a WBZ News update. Our top stories: a state of emergency in Vermont after catastrophic flooding devastated several communities there. This is drone footage from Ludlow, Vermont. You can see that area is completely washed out. The governor says the threat is not over.
We are not out of the woods. This is nowhere near over, and at this phase, our primary focus continues to be on life and safety before we can shift into a recovery phase.
Stay away from rivers and flooded areas. Keep yourself and your family safe by staying well clear of damaged and flooded areas. There are countless road washouts around the state. Please respect all detours and never drive across a flooded road.
Emergency crews from Massachusetts are in Vermont now, helping to assist with rescues. A Massachusetts soldier from World War II, missing in action since 1944, has finally been accounted for. The Department of Defense says the remains of U.S. Army Private Wing Home of Boston, who was 20 years old at the time that he went missing, was accounted for on April 6th. His loved ones have been notified, and Private Home was assigned to the Company B 7th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division. He went missing February 2nd, 1944, while fighting German forces in Italy. Home will be buried in Brooklyn, New York, later this year. A swimming ban is in place at Great Point on Nantucket until further notice. Several shark sightings in the area have caused alarm. No swimming is allowed in the area beyond mile marker 5 on the refuge. Officials say that area has seen the most sharks recently. Other areas of the refuge will remain open for recreational use, but officials are warning all visitors to be very cautious in the water as they continue to monitor the shark activity. Let's get a check of the forecast now with meteorologist Zack.
Well, New England's still reeling after the devastating rain and flooding from the past 48 hours. Thankfully, today shows improvement for us here in central and eastern Massachusetts. But you notice a lot of speckles of green still popping up. Each one of these is going to be a flood warning that remains in effect for the Connecticut River Valley and especially up into the Champlain River Valley. This is where they saw totals of 9+ inches. Now, that wasn't an isolated gauge in Worcester, Vermont, but many other locations around the Burlington area, Montpelier, they saw anywhere from 5 to 7 inches of rain. You tack that on to the saturated June and early July that we had, and we've got the drain off effect, which means that the rivers are running high down here in the Commonwealth as well. So we want to put some emphasis on these red dots from Greenfield to Northampton, Holyoke, Springfield down to Enfield, and even Hartford, Connecticut is just going to be tracing out the Connecticut River Valley. And we still have another 24 hours to go before we actually see the crest of the flooding. So it's actually going to arrive early on Wednesday of nearly 12 feet. That's going to put them into a moderate, if not closing in on a major flood stage as you go out towards Northampton. This is just one gauge. There are many that are reflecting a very similar scene. We'll start to see things recede and improve as we move into Thursday, and by Friday, may add a little insult to injury. We'll talk about some of the rain chances there in just a moment. But from this event, things are starting to peel away, and down here locally, the sun has taken a grip, and it's not going to lose as we go into the rest of the afternoon. And the clear skies in the evening hours will lead to much more comfortable conditions. All within a few degrees of 80 as of now. Generally, you get a temperature divide in the second half of the day if the winds were to be coming off the water, but they're not. It's out of the west this time, and that's going to boost us between the low and mid 80s for interior spots and towards the beaches. So all within a few degrees of 85 as we go into the middle of the afternoon, and then we'll keep things on the clear side as we head into the evening, which is great news if you were looking up towards Jupiter. Before sunrise on Wednesday, it's going to be parked right off to the right of the moon, so you can enjoy that celestial scene for what it's worth early tomorrow. Sunrise is right around 5:15 a.m. if you were wondering. Once we make our way into the afternoon hours on Wednesday, still holding on to mostly sunny skies, but there is higher humidity, and we're holding on to the 90s in the afternoon. We have a little front off to our west that's going to help sort of bubble things up once we go into the middle of the day. So anywhere from 3 p.m. and onwards, we should be rain ready. Most cities and towns not going to deal with any activity. But we do double down on that track as we get this secondary wave to come out of the west for Thursday afternoon. So Thursday morning is dry. It's the second half going into the evening commute that will start dialing in some thunderstorms, and we'll pick up the pace a little bit more as we move into the end of the week. So scattered storms still available tomorrow off to the north and west, sort of diminishing in value once we go inside of 495, but there still may be an isolated case or two from 128 to coastal spots. I think more emphasis by the end of the week, slightly more widespread. Nowhere near as hard hitting as what we got to at the beginning of the week, but we may have a spillover factor as we go into Saturday. And the temperature is not moving at all. Not a heat wave. 90 just reserved to Wednesday. We're back in the 80s Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As of now, somewhat of a split weekend. If you're looking for a dry day, Sunday's the winner.
I'm Paula Ebben. This has been a WBZ News Update.